Hello everyone, my name is Parv Munglani, a student of BSc Honours in Data Science and AI at IIT Guwahati. This is my submission for DA 377 as well as DA 378 of Internship 1 and 2 for trimesters 7 and 8. The internship was a business analyst role at the PW Institute of Innovation for 6 months long. So that's what I'll be presenting today. So first of all, I will give you the quick overview of what I will cover. I'll start with the organization, what PWIOI does and the scale they operate it. Then my role and the toolset I use day by day. After that, the end-to-end workflow I followed. The key projects I built, the challenges I ran into, and finally how the work connects back of what I learned in my coursework. Let's get started. So I'll give you the quick company overview. Basically, PWIOI is a 4 year residential program which provides the certification in computer science and AI, runs by Physics Wala's PW Skills vertical from their Bengaluru campus. The interesting thing about PWIOI is who it serves. Students who have already completed degrees or the students who are already pursuing the degree from online like BTech, BSc or MCA, but still don't have a job ready tech skills the industry actually needs. The inaugural batch has 150 learners with capacity scaling to about 500. The program is structured across 7 centers and 3 academic verticals, which is School of Technology, School of Management, and School of Healthcare. And that's important for the rest of this presentation because all of my work touched data across these 7 centers and 3 schools. On the right, you can see the snapshot of my role. I was a business analyst intern, work from home from Bengaluru. 6 months duration from September 2025 to March 2026. So yes, now I'll explain you my role and with the toolset which I have used. Basically, my day-to-day work was a mix of automation, dashboard building, and data analysis. On the left, you can see the main responsibilities building Power BI reports, analyzing test results, attendance, and CPR report, writing SQL queries against Metabase to pull data, and automating recurring reports using Google Apps Script and anything. On the right is the toolset. Power BI was the primary deliverable surface. That's where stakeholders actually consume their reports. Google Sheet was where raw data comes in, Excel and AppScript for cleaning and combining. Python and N10 for automation and SQL with Metabase for direct database queries. Darwinbox and HR platform are used for administrative things. The key thing that aren't just tools I used once. Almost every project combined 3 or 4 of them together. What I'll show you next. So yes, before I get into specific projects, this slide shows the standard workflow I followed for almost every analytics task because it becomes my default process. So it started with inspecting raw data, figuring out which rows and columns are useful, what's missing, what's malinformed. Step 2 is cleaning and formatting. Step 3 is combining sources, and this was usually the hardest part because data came from multiple sheets across multiple centers and AppScript was what stitched it all together. Step 4 is the actual report building in Power BI with DAX and visuals. Step 5 is publishing to a Power BI workspace so stakeholders can assess it, and the final step, automated delivery, is what made the whole thing useful day to day. Because instead of stakeholders logging in the report came to their inbox, this pipeline is essentially the same for every report I built. The only thing that changed was what data was at the start. So yes, uh, these were the two core build out that ran daily. Project 1 on the left, the unified result report in Power BI. The goal was simple, but the data was messy. Data entry operators were filling result data for all three academic domains, which is SOT, SOM, and SOH, into separate Google Sheets. Stakeholders had to check three different sheets to understand performance. What I did was first write Excel functions to standardize the raw data. Then I built AppScript code that automatically pulled all three sheets into one combined data set. On top of that combined data set, I wrote DAX measures and calculated columns and calculated measures for things like domain-wise average, pass rates, and trend metrics. Finally, I designed the visuals, charts, slicers, KPIs into a single report that stakeholder could open once and see everything. This report ended up by being adopted across all centers as the primary academic view. After that, project 2, which was on the right, automated report delivery. Once the report existed, the next problem was that stakeholders still had to remember to open it. So I built an automation that runs every morning. An N8N workflow triggers on schedule, calls a Python script that takes the screenshot of the live Power BI report. Then N8N attaches that screenshot to an email and sends it to a stakeholder automatically. The interesting challenge here, N8N doesn't natively run Python at that time because I used N8N as a local by downloading it through Node.js. So I ran the Python script locally as an HTTP service and used N8N's HTTP request node to invoke it. That little workaround is what made the whole pipeline possible. So yes, after that, the other two projects, project 3 on the left, SQL queries on Metabase. Metabase is the data warehouse PWIOI uses, and a lot of the underlying marks and academic data lives there. I wrote multiple SQL queries against Metabase to fetch student performance data. This fed directly into the Power BI report. I just showed and also supposed ad hoc analysis requests what stakeholders wanted to look at trend and I hadn't already built into the dashboard. After that, project 4 on the right. And this is the one I am proudest of, the IOI student records portal. The problem here was about access control, not visualization. Before this portal, whenever a team needed student data, the standard practice was to literally share a duplicate a Google Sheet. That means no real control over who could see what, and the team had to maintain multiple copies of the same data, which obviously drifts out the sync over time. So I built a standalone web app using Google Apps Script. Stakeholders log in, and from inside the portal, they can grant specific people specific slices of data through their personal logins without ever sharing the raw sheet or making a duplicate. One source of truth, role-based access, no more sheet duplication. This is the project that earned formal recognition from my reporting manager via email as a meaningful improvement over the previous manual processes. And that's the highlight of the internship for me. So yes, now I'll talk about my challenges and key learnings. First, learning DEX. When I started, I couldn't write DEX queries or functions properly inside Power BI. There was no way around it. The result report needed DEX, so I learned it hands-on while building, and by the end I was comfortable writing measures, calculated columns, and even some of the more complex filter context problems, patterns. After that, second, running Python inside N8N. As I mentioned earlier, N8N doesn't support Python natively in the local host. I figured out the workaround of hosting the Python script locally as an HTTP endpoint and calling it from N8N's HTTP request node. That pattern actually generalizes anytime I need N8N to do something N8N can't natively do. I can just wrap it in a local HTTP service. Third, Google Apps Script. I had JavaScript experience, but AppScript has its own APIs and execution quirks. I ramped up quickly because of the JS foundation and used used it to ship the student records portal. The pattern across all three, I didn't know any of these well at the start, but the internship gave me the space to learn each one in the context of an actual problem, which is much faster than learning them abstractly. And as the callout at the bottom says, the IOI student records portal earned that direct recognition from my manager. So yes, uh, now quick look at the connection back to my degree. So on the left, the coursework that actually showed up in the work. Excel and data analysis was directly applied to every single data cleaning and consolidation task. Python from coursework was what I used to build the screenshot automation script. And basic English and communication mattered more than I expected. A huge part of being a business analyst is presenting findings clearly to stakeholders, and that's a skill you actually develop in those communication courses. On the right, what I shipped over the 6 months: the unified Power BI reporting suite across SOT, SOM, SOH for all 7 centers, the automated daily delivery pipeline, the student records portal, and the clean consolidated data sets that came out of all the SQL and AppScript work. Beyond the coursework, the biggest learning for me was the ability to communicate using data, taking raw data sets and turning them into something a non-technical stakeholder can act on. And honestly, the confidence that came with shipping things that real people used every day. So yes, so now that's my submission for internship 1 and 2 for trimester 7 and 8. So to quickly recap, I worked as a business analyst intern at PWIOI, built a unified Power BI reporting system across 7 centers, automated its daily delivery using Python and N8N, wrote SQL against Metabase, and shipped the student records portal that got formal recognition from a manager. So thank you for watching. I'm happy to take any question uh, in the Viva, obviously. My contact details are on the screen if needed. Thank you.